There is no good ending in Cyberpunk 2077. And no bad one either. Not because CD Projekt Red forgot to write a proper finale, but because Cyberpunk was never really about V, or Johny, or the Corpus, or Night City. This game is about you, and once you see it, everything falls perfectly into place. I've always admired how CDPR approached storytelling. People call the narratives tangled, drowning in moral fog and impossible choices. And sure, that's true, until it suddenly isn't. Side gigs, secondary quests, absolutely. A swamp of nuance, shades of grey all the way down. But the core narrative, it's so clean, so stripped, so brutally simple that it almost feels like a prank. If you want to understand any CDPR narrative, do this. Sit down and retell the plot to a friend in dry bullet points. If it still hits you in the gut, congratulations, you found the point. Today we're talking about the morality and endings of Cyberpunk 2077. Not the mechanics, not the bugs, not the hype or the backlash. We're here to answer one question: what is this game actually saying? And to understand that, we need to look at the endings, because they don't reveal V's story, they reveal yours. Each ending is a choice, your choice. And when you pick one, the game doesn't judge you, it simply shows you who you are. If you want Phantom Liberty, that's its own essay. Here, we focus on the base game and only on meaning, not pacing, not mechanics, not level design, not how the story is told, but why. And of course, spoilers. Lots of them. If you continue watching, you've crossed the point of no return. I hope you finished your business in Night City. From a distance, CDPR'S trick looks elegant. Up close, it's pure narrative judo. Where things should be simple, they complicate them. Where things should be complex, they simplify them. The main plots on the games are so stripped down, you can squeeze them into a single sentence, sometimes a single word. And in Cyberpunk 2077, V's goal for almost the entire runtime is survive. Not avenge Jackie, not topple Arasaka, not save the city. Just survive. Perfect game design. If your campaign runs for 50 hours, your protagonist's motivation better fit on a sticky note. What's the goal? Survive. You won't forget it, even during firefights that, for the record, you didn't start. The side content, though, complete opposite philosophy. Short arcs can afford moral density, questions without answers, heartbreak, contradiction. This is where the game lets you try on different masks, test your moral boundaries, experiment with who you want to be. Simplify the large, complicate the small. That's CDPR cheat code. The main road is a straight line. The side streets twist into spirals.
Got no fucking idea what this is about. But if you don't go with them, I'm never talking to you again.
If the story were truly as messy as it seems, the endings wouldn't work, but they do. The game already told you everything right from the start. You just weren't looking down. The game lays everything out from the beginning. We just don't notice because we're too busy chasing survival. Survival feels like the point, but it isn't the destination. At the very beginning, V wants something entirely different from survival. To make a name in Night City, to climb the ladder, to grab the afterlife by the throat and demand a seat at the table. And then, the job. Everything falls apart. Jackie dies, V plugs in the chip, and Dex Deshawn puts a bullet in your head. Remember, that bullet will come back to it. That shot, that's the true beginning of the game. Because here's the truth that was always on the surface. You're not trying to save V. V is already dead. If V hadn't slotted the biochip, the story would have ended in that dirty motel room with Dexter Deshawn. Johny doesn't kill V. The bullet does. The entire second and third act, the search for a cure, the desperate alliances, it's all borrowed time, a countdown disguised as a quest line. Death in Night City isn't special, it's routine. The loading screen news anchor rattles off the daily murder count like weather. People here don't think about dying until they die. V is no different. V never thought about death until that bullet forced the question. And now, V has to confront what death actually means. Not just the end of breath, but the end of meaning. What counts as a legacy? What does it mean to truly disappear? Do you die when your body stops, or when the world forgets you? V's goal becomes survive. Our goal as players becomes accept. We already know the ending, we will die. It has already happened. Cyberpunk 2077 stops being a power fantasy and becomes therapy. Therapy for the one thing we all avoid thinking about, our own mortality. The game gives you 2 weeks, it tells you you will die. Then it asks, what do you do? How do you spend your final days? Who do you become when the clock runs out? What matters when nothing lasts? And to guide you through that question, the game gives you the worst possible therapist. A dead man, a narcissist, a ghost who never processed his own death. Johny Silverhand.
What was it like when you died?
Was on top of the world. Failure not an option, not a thought. Till it happened. Death feels real now. It's only now I know it.
When we first meet Johny, we usually place him in one of two boxes. A charming asshole you can grab a drink with, or a delusional narcissistic terrorist, depending on your tolerance. But look closer. Johny has one massive problem. He is furious at everything. Arasaka, society, ideology, the world order. He loved free people, carry, rogue, out, free. And he destroyed every one of them. Not because he wanted to, but because the gravity of his own damage consumed everything in orbit. He trusts no one. He suspects everything. Every motive has a catch. Every kindness hides a blade. For Johny, anger isn't a mood, it's a bloodstream. It blinds him, fuels him, devours him. But here is the most interesting thing. Johny isn't angry at the world. Johny is angry at Johny. He hates himself more fiercely than he hates anyone else. And self-hatred, when it overflows, doesn't stay contained, it spills out. It poisons everything. He hates himself for joining the army, for witnessing horrors no one walks away from intact, for losing his best friend, a loss he reads as a sacrifice meant for him. He hates that he never learns, that he repeats his own failures like a broken record. So when Arasaka kidnaps Alt, he never considers it might have been about her. No, he's convinced it's all to spite him. That's why he lashes out at friends, lovers, strangers, even the woman he adored. He hunts for proof that everyone hates him because he hates himself more than anyone else. He sees enemies everywhere because he can't bear to look inward. So he projects hard on everyone all the time. Johny never got to process his own death. One moment he storms Arasaka Tower, the next he's a ghost trapped in someone else's skull. 50 years later, no reflection, no acceptance, just rage frozen in time. Decades later, he gets a second chance, not to live, but to understand. Because in V's head, Johny gets something he never had before: perspective. He gets to watch someone go through the same hell, loss, betrayal, corporate cruelty, and chose differently. Where Johny collapsed into rage, V keeps going. Where Johny destroyed, V connects. Where Johny burned bridges, V builds them. If you push back, if you make moral choices, if you help people, by the end you have something Johny never had: a family, a community, a place, a life worth living. But V changes too. Because looking at Johny, a man who was once a legend, now reduced to noise in someone else's head, V sees how easy it is to disappear, how quickly you can be forgotten. The question, how do I survive, slowly transforms into another. Who will I become when I'm gone? Johny is a terrifying reminder that even the loudest death can mean nothing. He's remembered, sure. His name is in the archives, but did anything change? Did his sacrifice matter? Or did he just become another entry in Night City's database of spectacular failures? Through Johny, we undergo therapy. Johny undergoes therapy through us. V learns to think beyond survival, to consider legacy, meaning, connection. Johny learns to let go of rage, to see he could have chosen differently. Two people, one shared death. One shared chance to finally understand what it means to die.
Johny!
You ain't dying yet. I got you.
And here we are, the rooftop, the last conversation with Johny. You played for hours, made choices, helped people or didn't, bonded with Johny or pushed him away. All of it has led you here, to this final turning point. Depending on how you played, you have different options available. Maybe you only see one path forward. Maybe you see three. Maybe you see a secret route that no one told you about. You can always end the game. You can let the current carry you straight into Arasaka's hands. No resistance, no questions, just survival. Or you can step off the path, reflect, dig into yourself and ask the questions that don't have answers. After this turning point, you don't get the ending you earned. You get the ending that feels closest to you. And to decode these endings, the game gives you two keys: the tarot cards and the bullet pendant. From the moment Johny appears, tarot cards begin to follow us. They never predict the future. They interpret what is already happening. Almost every major character has a card. Every critical event has a card. And of course, every ending has its own. Now, the pendant. Misty didn't just craft a pretty trinket. This amulet is the literal form of V's past. All that existed before Act 2. The bullet marks the exact moment V's old life ended. It carries their ambitions, failures, work, identity. It is Night City as well. It represents how V accepts death. In some endings, we can interact with it. In others, we never see it. This isn't a script mistake. It reflects how the past fits or doesn't fit in the ending we've created. I want to restate my core thesis. Cyberpunk 2077 has no good or bad ending. They cannot be ranked. Each ending is a mirror, reflecting who you are, how you made decisions, and what you value. If one ending feels good, that simply means it aligns with a choice you would personally make. A bad ending is just one you would never accept for yourself.
The devil. Ooh, got another deck lying around? A cheerful one?
This is no joke, V.
This ending is always available, but if you never grew close to Johny, never helped anyone, never built connections, this might be your only option. And when the moment comes, you choose survival at any cost. You turn to Arasaka, the corporation that ruined you, the one that killed Jackie, the one that owns half the world. But they have resources, technology, a chance, however slim. So you make the call. And this is where I need to talk about my own experience with this ending, because I've played it 3 times over the last 2 weeks, and every single time I was furious. It starts with Hanako Arasaka deciding to help you. She promises success to Mikoshi, safe separation from Johny. All you have to do is testify, tell the truth about the heist, that Saburo was killed by his own son. At first, it sounds fair, truth for survival. But then you realize what you're actually doing. You rescue Hanako from captivity. You storm in Arasaka almost alone. You clear floor after floor of elite guards. You fight Atom fucking Smasher. None of this was part of the deal. Every time it feels like Hanako is finally going to keep her promise, it's always the same answer. Not now. Just one more thing. After this. Mikoshi is constantly dangled in front of you like a carrot. And then there's this moment. V collapses. No one helps. Hanako doesn't ask if you're okay. She looks at someone else and asks, will they manage? Not to you. About you. You're not a person here. You're a tool. With your hands, Saburo Arasaka returns to life, legitimately, cleanly, and the entire time no one explains what's really happening. No one answers your questions. You're just told where to go and what to do. You're lied to, you're used. You don't even fully understand what you're helping accomplish. Stories about family, duty, honor are fed to you, and once the job is done, you quietly discard it. When you wake up on the orbital station, no conversations, no explanations, just tests. Endless, exhausting, humiliating tests. Look at the doctor. She forces the cube into your hands and rips it away. She is not trying to help you. She is collecting data. When V destroys the hospital room, that wasn't V. That was me. You made a deal with the devil. And now you finally get to read the fine print. The relic is gone. You're alive. For now. Then comes the final choice. Return to Earth for 6 months, weak, powerless, dying, or upload yourself into secure your soul and become Arasaka property forever. Watch that moment closely. V knows the choice is wrong, says it out loud, and still considers it, just in case it works.
So let's say I agree. Land in Arasaka's soul prison, put myself at their mercy. Do I even need to ask about the catch? What would you say to a person who walked right into their greatest foe's jail to save their life?
This is bargaining. V is lost and too far to turn back. Here's the cruel irony. Because you never grew close to Johny, because you kept him at arm's length, you never got the chance to teach you that he learned. That life as an engram is not life. That becoming data means becoming property. V didn't learn the lesson. And now V becomes exactly what Johny was. A consciousness trapped in corporate infrastructure, stripped of agency, waiting. Johny never chose this. He was ripped from his body without consent. A victim of Arasaka violence. V walks into it villainly, eyes open. That's what makes this ending so devastating. The game has shown us what Arasaka does with what it owns. V doesn't become a patient. V becomes an asset. Stored, archived, forgotten. And maybe one day we will wake up again as a voice in someone else's head. Another merc who decided to steal Arasaka property. The cycle repeats. And the pedant, if V accepts the deal, they walks to the procedure table with the pendant in their hand. The last thing they still have. Right before it begins, they put it on and hold it tight. Not as a symbol, not for luck, but as the only thing that still belongs to them. If V refuses, the gesture changes. They leave the clinic alive and break. Clutch the pendant until it hurts and then rip it away. Not freedom, not acceptance. Just the collapse of an identity that no longer knows where it belongs. V gives their soul to the devil, not erased but archived. Just a name in a database, just another asset, just another ghost. You can reach this ending in 2 ways, but they meet in theme. A direct attack on that goddamn Arasaka tower. To get either version, you must be close to Johny, complete his quests, and form a genuine bond. Either Johny asks for control one final time to strike at the corporation that ruined both your lives, or you choose to attack alone. No help, no backup, just one fragile human body against an empire. A suicidal charge, a myth repeating itself. Johnny's story retold 50 years later. The Sun card isn't purely positive. In Tarot, it often represents blighting ego, recklessness, self-focus, the inability to see beyond yourself. It's Icarus, flying too close to the sun. But in the game interpretation, it symbolizes complete fulfillment. Some see the sun as a failure. V becomes Johny, stuck in a loop of rage and denial. Others see it as triumph. V burns bright on their own terms and becomes the legend they always dreamed of. It's a Rorschach test. If you value connection and peace, this ending feels hollow. If you value legacy and boldness, it feels heroic. Here is the truth. Both readings are correct, because this ending is not about facts, it's about values. What do you think makes a life meaningful? In cyberspace, V gets a choice. Join Alt or go back to your body for 6 months. If V returns from cyberspace after Mikoshi, they get everything. They name on the afterlife wall: fame, worship, fear. But is V satisfied? Listen to the voice during that call with Mr. Blue Eyes. That's not a joy.
No chance of survival if anyone notices.
Excellent.
You'll gain more than you ever imagined.
Times when I had something to gain are long gone. No, I got nothing to lose.
That is someone outrunning truth at full speed. This is anger, the cold fury of a person who gave everything, did the impossible, survived miracles, and still couldn't save themselves. Imagine being the first person in history to survive Mikoshi, to do what no human has ever done, to become a god among mercs, only to learn that even that wasn't enough. What emotion could possibly follow that revelation if not rage? The fury of someone who realizes that no amount of strength, talent, sacrifice, or reckless heroism can outrun mortality. V's rage isn't pity, it's grief sharpened into a blade. And here, for the first and only time in the entire game, V consciously chooses what to do with the pendant. Put it on or leave it behind. It doesn't matter which, because the pendant no longer defines them. V is no longer running from the bullet or clinging to who they were. They have moved beyond the person they used to be. V dies as a legend, but in Night City, legends don't grow old. They burn out. Here, finally, is a different answer. Instead of bargaining with Arasaka or charging in alone, you do something radical. You ask for help.
You've called me at high moon to ask me to help you break into Arasaka Tower, or you'll die.
About the gist of it, yeah.
Okay.
If you earned Panam's trust and joined the Aldecadas, you unlock the most mature path into Mikoshi, not through a rooftop, but through the ground. This matters. Johnny's attack 50 years ago was fueled by ego. A small army followed him. He didn't care if they'll die. The mission mattered more. V's attack with the Aldecadas is fueled by trust. People fight with V, not for V. This is the lesson Johny never learned. The tarot card, the star, symbolizes hope. Not naive, sugar-coated hope, but the quiet kind you find after accepting the worst and still choosing life. Inside cyberspace, the choice remains: return to your body for 6 months, or give it to Johny and walk with Alt. If V returns, this time they doesn't return to emptiness. They return to friends, lovers, a clan, a home. And here, V removes the pendant. No ceremony, just lets it go. The desert wind carries it away into nothing. This isn't tragic, this is freedom. This ending isn't about surviving longer. It's about using the time you have to live well. This is acceptance, not defeat, not surrender, grace. V dies, but not alone, not forgotten, not unfinished. V chooses to live on their own terms, with dignity. After death, V remains a memory. There is also a path of denial, a soft surrender to something that feels impossible, unreal, too strange to be fully understood. During the raid, whether with Johny or Panam's crew, we can accept Alt's offer, merge with her consciousness beyond the black wall. We dissolves into Alt, becoming part of something boundless, alien, and beyond understanding on the far side of the black wall. Does V remain V? Does consciousness survive? Is this freedom? The game never answers. All we know is that Johny walks away in V's body and V becomes part of something that was never meant to be human. From here on, the ending follows Johny. His tarot card now is Temperance, serenity, patience, a gentle transition from one state to another. Like a figure on the card pouring water between two cups. V becomes nothing, so Johny can become something. Johny gets a second chance, one he never expected. And this time he doesn't waste it. He has seen himself from the outside. He has faced the destruction, the rage, the hollow legacy he left behind. And he learns, he grows. He chooses a quiet life, no vendettas, no wars, no ego, just existence and memory. Watch him in that final scene. He's on the bus, looking out the window, silent. For Johny, this is revolutionary. Before leaving Night City, Johny rents a niche at the Columbarium. He cannot bury V, so he leaves the pendant instead. Not to forget, but to remember. To say thank you, to finally let go. Johny keeps living, but he never erases V.
Thanks for... well, for everything.
If anything could change Johny, it was this.
I'm wiser now, and I don't plan to waste it. So this is goodbye.
To those who don't follow Johny's arc deeply, his calmness may seem strange. But for those who listen, really listen, it is clear. Here Johny completes his redemption. No more death, no more war, time to live. As for V, V will live forever, but in another form. There is one more choice. It doesn't finish the game, it ends the story. On the rooftop with Johny, you can decide to end both lives on your own terms. V's reasoning is scarcely logical. They argue that this is the only way to make sure nobody else gets hurt, that it's the cleanest, most responsible way to end things. No more blood, no more chaos, no one else involved. Just a final full stop. The scary part is how reasonable it sounds. In real life, people who make this choice rarely sound emotional. They sound cold, practical, and sure. And in that moment, V sounds just like that. But when the gunshot rings out, the credits hits us like cold water. V is gone, but the pain they leave behind is huge. The people who cared about them are left with grief, guilt, and the weight of a story cut suddenly short.
What were you thinking, huh? Or did you think about nothing at all? Is that it?
Just wish I had done more. So things might have come out different.
Shit, I can't do this.
V believed the choice was logical, but in truth, simply gave up. Didn't consider those who loved them. Didn't end the game, abandoned it. This is the ending of depression. And here, there is no pendant, no gesture, no card, no achievement. You don't even hear the final song. It's not treated like an ending, it's treated like an absence. After death, we become silence, a story that ends mid-sentence. Cyberpunk 2077 never promised hope, yet somehow, impossibly, it gives you some. It tells you that survival is temporary, victory is fragile, legends fade. But people matter, connections matter. Your choices matter, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Every ending is tragic in its own way, but each is honest. The sun burns, the star heals, Temperance transforms, the devil bargains, the roof falls silent. But the meaning was never in the endings. The meaning is in the choosing. Every ending is a choice between who we was and who we could be. The star chooses peace, Temperance chooses sacrifice, the sun chooses defiance, the devil chooses survival. And each one asks the same question. What are you willing to lose to keep living? Cyberpunk isn't teaching you how to win. There is no winning, there never was. It is teaching you how to look at yourself when the easy choices fall away. Cyberpunk 2077 is therapy disguised as a video game. The endings aren't conclusions, they are diagnoses. Not what would you do if you were V, but what do your choices reveal about you? And maybe this is why the game resonates with people in ways we don't always expect. I know it did for me. Because here's what's happening when you finally face your own mortality. You don't suddenly become wise. You don't unlock hidden truth. You just start noticing what you've been ignoring. Cyberpunk does the same thing. It doesn't teach you how to die, it teaches you how to notice you're alive. Who do you want to be while your story still continues? Because you're still here, watching this, breathing, choosing. Your ending hasn't been written yet. So tell me, which ending did you choose? Not because I'm curious, but because this time, the answer isn't for the game, it's for you. After all, it was always a game about you, wasn't it?
Fuck, Nancy just gets shit done. She just whisper Mikoshi in her ear. We'll be all set.